Oh, welcome everyone to episode 6 of Lakeshore Christian Church's Midweek Video Podcast. We're coming to you live from our Antioch campus, our studio here in beautiful Nashville, Tennessee. Each week on our podcast, we plan to talk about all things Lakeshore, the current message series, activities and events that are coming up. We'll have guests that we interview and occasionally a guest host as well. We hope you'll be a subscriber. If you haven't already done so, subscribe. You can hit that notification bell so you get notifications each time we post one. You could also invite family, friends, co-workers to tune in. Even if you miss us live, we'll be live every Wednesday at noon. But even if you don't catch us live, all of our episodes are archived on our YouTube channel, so you can go catch any of them there. We want to, when we have this podcast each week, our goal is to help you stay connected to Lakeshore Christian Church, but also to hear about community events and learn more about staff and people in the community so that you can become more familiar with who we are. If you live in this area or you're visiting in the area, we hope you'll come by and see us at Lakeshore for one of our services as well. Today, I'm happy to welcome J.W. Andrews. J.W. is on staff with us here at Lakeshore. He is our music and worship arts pastor. At Lakeshore, we have 2 campuses, and J.W. oversees both of our campuses for the worship, music, and arts. And he does a great job with that. I wanted you to have a chance to get to know more about J.W., to know more about who he is. I know a lot of people at the Smyrna campus probably know him better because he most often leads there, but occasionally he comes and leads at the Antioch campus too, leads the worship time with us here. But he oversees both campuses and works with all of our staff and volunteers that do that ministry. So, J.W., I want you to take a little while here just to tell us about yourself, where you grew up, where you're from, the family that you grew up in, those kinds of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. And for someone who likes to talk, what better platform and to give him a microphone and a camera and to
be
able to talk. So, no, but thanks for having me. My name is J.W. Andrews, and I'm from Central Ohio. And I grew up in Central Ohio.
Ohio State fan?
Ohio State fan,
man.
Believe it or not, I believe.
We didn't clear that before we brought you on staff.
That is true. I am a Buckeye, for sure. And I lived there till about 30 years old, and grew up as a preacher's kid. My dad actually just retired this past December from preaching ministry. He's still actually preaching, supply preaching at churches and things. So the stories you hear about pastors' kids and things, they're pretty much true. So I think every pastor's kid has good and bad moments, just like everyone else. But we just a lot of time are in the spotlight with it. But no. So after my childhood, I actually at a pretty early age at 19 started a youth ministry at a church in a little town called Frazeysburg, Ohio.
Wow. Frazeysburg. Now, what part of Ohio is that?
So that's about 45 minutes east of Columbus. I'm originally from about 30 minutes east, so just a little more east from where I grew up. I'm a farm boy. I grew up in farm country, and at a young age, man, I didn't know what I was doing, but this smaller church, Midweek Church of Christ, in the north, the Church of Christ, they're instrumental. In the south, they're non-instrumental, and we had music and things there. And so I did a youth ministry, and we lost our piano player, and they asked me and some of the youth to lead the worship every now and then in supply. And then that turned into, we're going to turn you into a associate pastor so that you can do the youth and the music. And we grew. I think when I started we were about 125. It got to about 250 after about an 8-year ministry there. And now the church is just doing fantastic. They're growing like weeds. They're on their 3rd building addition.
Wow. Yeah.
And I still have great relationships with those people, and very thankful for those people and the lessons that I learned. I kind of feel bad. They were like guinea pigs to my ministry, the rights and wrongs that I did.
Yeah, I have some people in my past like that when I started preaching that I just have a real heart for, that God gave them the grace to put up with me in the early years.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And the pastor, Sam Dunn, him and I still have a great friendship and still keep in contact with him. Yeah. And actually some of those people on there, they'll come to Nashville for getaways and tourism, and so some of them got to experience Lakeshore too, which is great.
Yeah. They say what happened to JW, right?
That's
Where,
right.
When he left
There's
there,
a lot more gray in your hair than when you were in Ohio.
Yeah. Wow. Well, growing up as a preacher's kid, I'm sure helped you a lot too. In some ways, I know there are challenges with that. You know, every preacher's family, like you said, they go through some challenges with that with their kids. But it also helped prepare you for ministry in ways you probably didn't even realize at the time. You knew pretty much how a church functioned, the ins and outs, the behind the scenes, that kind of stuff that some people don't know when they first start. I didn't know that when I started in ministry. I didn't have that experience.
Right.
But that experience is valuable, I think, going into it.
It really is. It gives you a perspective of things. You can see a lot of times the genuineness of people, even though you may not agree with things that are taking place or decisions that are made. As you build relationships with those people and get to know them, that's a huge plus when it comes to, either not being upset with a decision or figuring out whatever the problem might be, how to find the solution, and to have people on your team to help you solve that solution. It's probably at a young age was my biggest mistake was, well, I'll just do it. Instead of, let me get some people in here to help me accomplish, this ministry goal that we have, which is, inevitably lead people to Christ in their relationship and make it stronger.
Yeah, I think a lot of times to start out with, you don't really have the option of too much of a team because you're the only one kind of there to do it.
Right.
But as the church grows, you have to start delegating and forming teams and letting other people use their gifts and pour into it. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, that's great. Well, along the way, it was great that you had, I think your dad had a longer term ministry as you were growing up, which helps a lot with stability for the family a little bit too.
Yeah.
But then as you branched out and you started serving like that, what were the steps that led to coming to Nashville and ending up connecting with us here at Lakeshore?
Yeah, so a lifelong friend of mine, I did his wedding for him, and
was it legal?
It was
okay.
legal, yeah.
Right.
And
okay.
At his wedding reception, I knew his sister, and I said, hey, sometime I'm going to come down to Nashville and take you out. And then that was it. And about, I don't know, it was many months later, she sent me a text and said, hey, are you ever going to come to Nashville and take me out? And I said, sure. So I drove through Bonnaroo traffic in the beginning of June. 7-hour trip turned into I think 9.5 or 10-hour trip from Ohio.
Yeah, welcome to Nashville.
Yeah,
right?
Drove down to Nashville. We went out and did the Lower Broadway dinner. I think actually that time they were even filming CMA Fest, I think, was at the exact same time.
Oh man!
I mean, it was just gangs of people. We did the date, and then I turned around and got in my car and drove home that night. And then after that, we decided to do a long-term dating for a year, and then on the year anniversary, I was back down here, and we went to the pagan temple down in Nashville, and
the Parthenon.
The Parthenon,
yes, there you go.
And that's where I proposed to her. And we got engaged, and then we had a decision to make. Was she moved back to Ohio, where all of our family basically was, or would I move to Nashville? Yeah. And she was a nurse here in Nashville, and we felt that God was calling me to leave Ohio, and so I did without a job prospect or anything down here. I moved down, and the Lord has definitely provided. Now we've been married for over 9 years, 2 children, 5 and 7.
Yeah,
and
I love your kids. They're great kids.
Somebody has to.
Yeah,
no, they're great.
You guys do a great job with your kids, and your wife Stacy, I know, is still working in the medical field, right?
Yeah, she's still a nurse. Yeah. She just started. She left the downtown Nashville area, and she's now at St. Thomas Rutherford down in Murfreesboro.
Yeah,
closer to where we live.
So when you got here and you didn't have a job to start with, what kind of work did you do? What process did you go through there?
Right. Yeah. So I didn't have a job, and it was just more of like an internet search for, hey, let's get something to do. And so for a few years, I actually worked security at the Nashville Shores Water Park.
Yeah.
Supervised it for a while, and then I from there transitioned over to the Ryman and Opry scene and helped do security there for a while. And in that time, we were coming to Lakeshore, And I believe it was because of a Facebook post that my wife posted of me playing some guitar that you stopped me on a Sunday morning and said, hey, you play guitar. I'm going to introduce you to our worship pastor. And that was really what kind of got the ball rolling here. Because at that time, I was just enjoying coming to church, after, 8 years of ministry, not having to do anything on a Sunday morning. I was being pretty lazy and just enjoying the service,
right.
And,
I couldn't let that continue for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Now, we're always looking for more people to serve. And I think I did see a post that you had done and that your wife had posted. And we're always looking to make that connection. Sometimes people don't know how to make that connection or who to talk to, even if they are interested. But sometimes they just need to be approached. You've got people out there that are gifted we don't even know.
Right.
But when we find out, they're just, if you talk to them, they're open to that possibility. And I know Greg Campbell was leading that ministry at the time and connected you with Greg. And what was the process when you connected with Greg?
Yeah, so, I talked with Greg and, told him, kind of my story of, where I came from. And he said, hey, well, come in and play for me. Let me hear your skill level, where you are with the guitar and where you are vocally, and then we can go from there. And I said, great. And there was technology and things that were being used here that I was completely unaware of even existed.
Yeah.
So a lot of it was new to me. And Greg was gracious enough to say, yeah, I want you to, play some rhythm guitar for us on Sunday morning and sing some. And so I started volunteering.
Right.
And through that volunteering, I said, I can maybe take advantage of this what if I asked them if I could intern, shadow things around here? Because the church I came from, like I said, it was around 250 people. And Lakeshore is obviously bigger than 250 people.
Yeah.
How a church on a larger scale works, that'd be just good information to have, because I didn't give up on ministry.
Right.
I still wanted to do ministry, but where I was in my life and to support my family, I was working, other jobs at the time. So you guys allowed me to come on for 6 months, and work with Greg and things, and to learn, kind of, a crash course. And I probably couldn't ask for a better teacher. Greg Campbell is probably one of the kindest teachers and patient people I know. And it was shortly after that, after the internship, I believe you guys approached and asked if I wanted to come on as a part-time basis.
Right.
To help Greg, because he had a lot of responsibilities, and so that he could have some of that pressure taken off of him. Yeah. And then it was a little while after that, we're going to open up another campus. Right. Bring me on full time.
It's almost like God knew that.
Yeah. It's insane how it works out. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
I don't want to throw the term miracle out there, but I mean, it is definitely a divine intervention.
Absolutely.
I'm here, and the Lord had a plan, all along. It wasn't just, hey, you're going to learn how a larger church works. You're going to learn how Lakeshore works, because you're going to be in a place where this guy who was teaching you is not going to be here anymore. Yeah. And you're going to fill his role. Yeah. So, and I definitely wasn't, I don't know if I was ready for it or expecting it or not, but, I'm not going to lie. I wear floaties around here because sometimes, the water gets a little deep.
I thought you were saying you rolled up your pants because it gets so deep when Pastor Andy's teaching. Okay. Now, you did a great job of being willing to learn and grow, too, and we saw that in you and saw you continue to get better, not only at the performance side, but actually leading others, and because your role is more than just performing, and that's part of what's really Greg put into our ministry here, and you continue that. It's ministry. It's engaging people in worship to God, right? And that's why a lot of times performers could sound really good and maybe look really good, but not necessarily bring people into the presence of God, right, like we want them to as a part of our worship experience. Yes. So we appreciate how you've grown with that. The other campus, of course, where you started serving there and leading there regularly, and then as Greg transitioned to another role out of state up in Kentucky, we approached you because we felt like you had grown enough and you were experienced enough at that point to take on heading up and overseeing this whole thing. And man, I'm just so thankful that God was wiser than us and made all those connected all the
Right.
dots
Yeah.
and led it to where you were ready to step into that role. And you've just stepped in wonderfully and done a great job with that.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I'm grateful for, the experience that I had. And that was one thing, like when I talked to my dad on the phone, he would ask, how things were going and think, well before where we are now. He would always say, man, you're just getting great experience. You're just getting great experience. Yeah. And, and I would hear him and kind of brush it off. But now that I see it, I got really great experience. Not that I can't do better. Like, I'm definitely not perfect. But
I was going to bring that up.
Right.
That's all right.
but to know what has been set in place here before me, and to try to carry that on, and to continue to build it better.
Yeah.
To make it so that the Lord is glorified in the music part of the service and how our service flows, and to make sure that the moments that we have that we only get an hour and 15 minutes. Yeah.
Depending on how long the pastor preaches,
that's true.
how long he goes. Right.
But with our church family, and to make the most of it, make it quality.
Yeah.
Not only when the people come in, but then the Lord sees our heart and say they really are giving it their all. Yeah. Like they really are putting it all out there. Yeah. And that's kind of through my work week. That's how I look at it. Is the Lord going to be pleased with what I did today, not on Sunday, but the work I did on this Wednesday? Is he going to be pleased with me that I cracked that joke at Randy during the podcast? And it's kind of a work ethic type thing. For the Lord, give him his best, give him your best always, in anything you do. And thankfully, what I get to do is work full time for the Lord, which is great.
Yes, and the work ethic is there. It's obvious, and I know when people sometimes, if they're not really involved at a church, except for maybe showing up for the services, maybe to start with and all, it's hard for them to know behind the scenes all that goes into just that time they were there on Sunday mornings. But we've got staff and volunteers that all week long are getting ready and preparing in all different areas of ministry. Walk us through a little bit, I know because I'm part of this, how we go through the process to prepare for the Sunday morning services that we do.
Right, yeah. So usually weeks in advance, sometimes months, like the next sermon series that you're going to do, I won't spoil what it's going to be called. Yeah. You've already given me your sermon, at least the titles and the key scriptures that you're going to use. Yeah. So I'm looking at those months in advance, and then seeing, okay, hey, for the uniformity of the service, are any songs that fit really good with that theme that you're going to be speaking on that would kind of help bring the point and the message home even better. Right. So we're looking at that. And then, of course, we deal with a lot of volunteers. This ministry wouldn't happen if we didn't have volunteers. Right. Mike Scher and I, we would be sunk if we didn't have just an amazing group of people at both campuses that served week in and week out. Yeah. And I forget, Greg and I, years ago, we calculated how many volunteer hours, and it was in 10,000s of hours of volunteers for just the music and arts ministry alone here. And that's not including our children's ministries and our greeters and a safety team, all those. And, it's like the people who serve the Lord here, whether it's a paid role or a volunteer role, are vital to this community.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it takes, and a lot of people don't realize, volunteers, we're so grateful for all of our volunteers, but if you don't have someone leading, coordinating and all, it just won't all come together. And that's where the staff does such a great job of helping to coordinate the roles of what gifts the volunteers have, how they can best be used. And if we have some people listening today or that hear this later, that are interested in maybe getting involved in some area of the music arts ministry here, what would be the process they would need to go through with that?
Yeah, so, I mean, first of all, on our website, you can contact myself or Michael Scher, who predominantly leads here at the Antioch campus, right. And shoot us an email or catch us on a Sunday morning and say, hey, I'm interested in your ministry. And our ministry is more than just, music and singing. So right. there's a tech side to our ministry, whether it's running the audio for the service, running the computer screens. And those Bible verses don't just appear magically when you preach. Right. That's all prepared and set up. and the lyrics for the songs, all those kind of things are, controlled by people. The lighting and the camera work, the cameras here, we don't have cameras in Smyrna, but the lighting in Smyrna,
Right.
All that is volunteers. And so you can say, well, I kind of want to, be a part of this ministry, but I'm not, skilled in music or singing. We have a spot for you. Yeah. But if you are skilled in music or singing and you want to serve here, we do have a little bit of a process, and it's kind of a different process than a lot of other ministries. If I wanted to serve in the children's ministry, we do background checks here. Right. You would talk with Andy or Jessica, and they get to know you a little bit better, and then they plug you in. But for the music side of things, we do an audition process, and we make it as relaxed as possible. And I know some people get nervous if they have to stand by themselves. There's not a big giant panel of people. There's a few of us in the room. We show you the technology that we use. We give you the resources before you even come in, of what we want you to know and what we want you to bring to us. We show you the technology, and we run through some songs together. And the reason why we do that, and we feel it's scriptural, and Greg Campbell kind of set this up. And I would encourage anyone who's listening to look this up. I won't read you 1 Chronicles chapter 25, but go read that. And it talks about how David was setting up the tabernacle with musicians, right, and how he selected them, and how he put the students and the teachers and the young and the old together, and each had a role to play in that service. And that music was playing all the time there. Right. And so we look at that too. And so in our audition process, we don't ever just tell someone no. We don't ever just say, no, sorry, you're not going to sing.
Except for me.
You're not going to sing at Lakeshore.
Yeah, they told me they're not. I'm not going to sing.
But what we do, we see that obviously you have a heart to serve.
Right.
And you want to serve in this ministry. And so we work with you. We give you some things to work on your own at home, and those people that are really interested, and they will do those things, and we bring you back, and we see, this skill set. And usually it's, can we see that you actually did the techniques we asked you or suggested for you to do, and it may still not be, amazing, but it's more of a heart and determination type thing. Yeah. And this person's willing to put the work in. Yeah. All right, let's see what we can do to bring them apart. This is a good team. It really is. But it does take a lot of time, especially up here. You have, with the 2 services and things in an early morning, you're one of the last to leave. Yeah. It is it's a commitment. It is. But it is a very rewarding commitment too. Yeah.
And it adds so much to the overall experience of the church family coming together in that assembly time to have that executed well, with quality. And again, it's not just about performance; it's about the quality of the experience of worshiping together as a church family.
Yeah, we have musicians here that are professional, and we have musicians here that are just amateur. I play piano at home by myself type thing. Right. And I think probably one of the greatest things about this team is everyone's humble. Yeah. Everyone is willing to work together. Yeah. If we run into a problem, hey, where are we at here? The kind of go with my own fault is, or like my failures of things is I struggle with vocals and finding harmony parts and things. Uh-huh. So a lot of times, especially in Smyrna, my people can tell you, if we're doing a rehearsal and I'll say, hey, can you play that harmony line? Can you play that? Because I can't sing that part from them, but can you give it to them? And they're right there. Yeah. It really is a team effort, and it's really nice to see.
It is. And you've put together a great team, and we're always looking for others to come and be a part of that team. So if you're interested, you can always contact JW or Mike Scherer. You could call the office if you want to do that and leave us a message there. We'll have someone follow up with you, or you could always email, like you said, or just grab them on Sunday. If you see them around the campus, just grab them there and let them know you'd like to get more information and make that connection there.
Yeah, and I'll be in Antioch this Sunday.
All right, cool. Yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming in today, JW, and having this time together and learning more about you and your family. I got just one more question for you. What are you drinking today, man?
A lot of times you'll see me. It's hardly ever without in my hand a McDonald's cup of black coffee. Okay. I'm definitely a McDonald's coffee guy.
Our family has a tea business, right?
I do. And I drink tea, but I prefer the coffee.
Man.
No offense.
Oh, man. We're going to keep working on JW with that and praying for him. I ask you to join me in praying for him.
And we're going to stay live for at least 30 more minutes after this, so they're witnesses to what Randy does to me afterwards.
Well, thanks, man. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Hey, listen, we want to thank you guys for joining us today. I just want to, real quickly here, go over a few things we've got coming up here at Lakeshore. It's a lot of fun stuff going on right now. For the entire month of July, we're collecting gift cards for back-to-school supplies. We're partnering with Youth for Christ and Smyrna Elementary School. It's a great partnership for our Smyrna campus there. They know families that need some help, some things that would be really helpful for back to school. And so any amount you could do on a gift card, we're doing Amazon and Walmart gift cards. You can just bring those to either campus during the month of July. We're also having a Kids 101 baptism class on Saturday, July 23rd. If you have a child interested in being baptized, I really highly recommend you let them go through a class like this. We're going to do this one at the Antioch campus. We'll do one later, too, at the Smyrna campus. This one will be Saturday, July 23rd from 10 to 3. We recommend 8-year-old and up elementary age kids, but you can register for that online or on Sundays at our kiosk at our campuses there. We also have a fun event coming up at Camp YI in Laverne. It's our summer celebration, Saturday, August the 6th from 2 to 8. Going to be fun activities there, swimming, water slides, indoor and outdoor games, fishing. JW's a big fisherman. He'll help you out with the fishing if you want to come fish that day. And we want you to sign up for that. We'll have dinner that evening, but you need to sign up in advance so we can get a good count of how many are going to be there for that. And that's, again, on our website or on our kiosk at our campuses that you can sign up for that. And if you're new to Lakeshore, we want to have a time to get to know you better, let you get to know us better. We have a welcome lunch scheduled for Sunday, August the 21st at both campuses. It'll be after the 11 o'clock service here at the Antioch campus or after the 10 o'clock service there at the Smyrna campus. Register in advance. We have child care available, and your meal will be provided. That's all free. But, again, we need you to register in advance. We've got a group right now at CIY. It's a high school age group at CIY this week. They're having a great week. We've heard from them already several times along the way. We just want you to be praying for them for the rest of the week there and for their travels back on Saturday. CIY is a great program, and we appreciate all of you who help support the church and allow us to help families that might need some help sending their kids to camps like this. So thank you for your support with that. We want to invite you to join us on Sunday mornings as well. We are in a series right now called Wisdom for the Ages. We already had a couple of weeks of that. If you've missed any of that, again, they're archived on our YouTube channel there. You can go back and catch those. We started out looking at what is the beginning of wisdom, of course, is the fear of the Lord according to Proverbs. We're looking at different Proverbs throughout this whole series, taking bits of wisdom from that book that is so packed full of wisdom for us, and then learning what other scriptures have to say about those subjects. Last week we talked about the secret of contentment, and this week we're going to be talking about the world of the generous. What's it like to live as a generous person in our world today? I believe God calls us all to have a generous spirit, not just with money, that's part of it, but with our lives, with our time, with our talents and efforts. So come and learn more about that. Proverbs 11:24 and 25 says this: one person gives freely, yet gains even more. Another withholds unduly and comes to poverty. A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. What a great promise from God that if we're generous in spirit, He refreshes us in every way so that we can be that generous person that He's called us to be. We're created in the image of God, who is the greatest giver of all time. So let's learn how to be better at living that generous lifestyle. Join us this Sunday. Invite family, friends, co-workers as we continue to connect, grow, and serve here at Lakeshore Christian Church. We'd love to see you at either campus this Sunday. Thanks for joining us.